So again, my name is Aileen Martin. I'm with the Prairie Central District for Sport, Culture, and Recreation. And I've got my colleague Catherine on the call here too. She's in our Outlook office. If you haven't reached out or you don't know anything about the districts, we sure hope you do reach out and we can explain a little bit more what we do with regards to kind of partnering in communities, growing communities, sharing communities, and our partnerships with Sask Sport, Sask Culture, and Sask Parks and Rec. So today I am in Treaty 4 territory, just on the edge of Last Mountain Lake. And again, if you've heard me talk before, I've got a wonderful relationship and starting to build and learn and grow from the Valley bands and the Touchwood bands. Every time I go out in my garden, kind of with my bare feet, I think about who is here on this land before me and reflect back. Tomorrow, I'm actually headed across the lake to Canucama to do a workshop over there. So I welcome everybody to kind of join in the celebrations and learnings of the groups around you. So today we are here to talk about community events and festivals and gatherings and get some funding opportunities. But a big question is like, why community gatherings and events? Why should we be hosting these big events? Why should we bring people together? Why is it important? And so I have on the screen here, and all these slides will be shared, and we can share some other slides in the recording also. But rural communities benefit enormously from planning, not just because they're fun, because they create lasting community, economic, and cultural events. And so I have there, like, big events don't need to have big turnouts. Sometimes the little turnout, sometimes those culture days events with only 10 people that show up are really meaningful to those who are able to attend. So just because numbers might not be big, don't think that your impact isn't that big. A couple of kind of types of gatherings, and again, our friends at Sask Tourism and or Tourism Saskatchewan. Sorry, Denise, I always mess that one up. And Sask Arts will also help out with some of these. But a few of the gatherings that some communities have hosted or can host are kind of community milestones. Maybe you've got a 150th anniversary. Maybe your town has, maybe you've got your Canada Day celebration. Some of these don't have to be big, brand new special ideas. They can also just be things that are happening that you want to kind of amplify through a festival or an event. The second one there is sharing your community story. What makes you special? What makes you unique? Catherine and I are on a big Communities in Bloom blitz these days and really love that kind of heritage aspect of communities and just what brings your story out. What can you share about your community through kind of your landscape? And maybe part of that landscape is hosting a festival. This little picture of the guy in the middle is actually in my town, Silton. We used to be a really big hub for kind of screen printing. There used to be a big group of people. So we hosted as part of one of our events, we did a screen printing festival and everybody got these cute little bags. But yeah, it was just bringing back some of those stories and history of the past. Seasonal celebrations. I know we've got Zoe on the call here. They do an amazing celebration in Kalonze every winter with some like tree lighting festivals. Use those events. Doesn't just have to be a beautiful summer festival. We've got communities I don't even know how big the community of Pilger is. I think it maybe has like 17 people that live there, but they have an incredible pumpkin festival. And so if you go on their social media, it's just this like beautiful festival of pumpkins and brings everybody together and carvings. And they have this pumpkin, they've got like a giant rock of the size of the pumpkin and it has like 1,000 pounds or something. It's crazy. But just kind of giving those little boosts to your town to bring people together. Big ideas into projects and dreams. I don't know if you've heard about like the Big Mur in Dundurn had tried the world's record for the most people dancing in inflatable dinosaurs or something like that, which is like a crazy fun event. And then in Manitou, they tried to have like the most people floating while reading. So just if you've got those big ideas and how to like bring all those people together, we're hoping that kind of today can help with some of that. Traditions and talents. You've got markets, you've got anything. Maybe you want to have like a wheat weaving festival at harvest and do a meals to the field and teach everybody about wheat weaving and the culture behind that. Some grand openings. It doesn't just need to be of a store. Maybe your museum is opening back up and you want to kind of revamp that or have a library festival. And then also all our friends at Culture Day is helping celebrate local creativity and culture. Okay, so that wasn't supposed to go that long, but I get a little intense about festivals and cultures because I really love them. So we've got Tourism Saskatchewan on the call today and Sask Arts. And so I'm just going to give them the stage here for a few minutes each, kind of 15 minutes each. And we also have the folks from Langham. I saw her join the call. Yeah, there she is, Valerie from Langham. And so she's going to share a little bit the about their garden festival as well. So I think I had Jeff, you going first, or does that work for everybody?
Yeah, that works fine for me. So I'm Jeff Smith. I'm a program consultant at Sask Arts, and I work largely with the SaskFestivals program. And the SaskFestivals program has sort of a few different streams. I'm going to sort of talk about each one kind of briefly and then sort of focus on the one that I think is most likely going to be more applicable to folks in the room. But the SaskFestivals program is it has this operational stream for organizations that what they do is they exist to present an arts festival. So if that's you, if you're an organization that your primary purpose, the reason your organization exists is to present an arts festival, then we have operational funding streams. Currently, they're called the development stream and the established stream, and they're multi-year funding for those organizations that are primarily presenting an arts festival. Um, the one I want to talk a little bit more about is the Sask Festivals project stream, because I think it has a bit of a wider base where it might be useful. The one sort of caveat I want to put on all of this, and kind of one of the reasons why I'm here in the first place, is that we're currently reviewing this program. So we're looking at all sorts of different parts about it and things that might need to change, structures that might need to change, any sort of adjustments. So what we're actually doing is we're going through a community consultation process where we've reached out to those that have been funded through the program for their feedback on it. But we're also going to be reaching out to those that might not have been funded through it before. We're going to do a survey that's going to be released at the end of this month. And if you run a festival or event and you would like to take part in the survey, definitely shoot me an email or whatever, pass it along to Aileen or Catherine, and they can pass it along to me. But we want to hear from events that are happening in the province that we aren't currently funding to kind of understand what's going on with the arts ecology around the province, who's putting on events in different regions, and sort of the structures of how that's being done so that we can better remake the program. But the Sask Festivals project program has a deadline once a year in October, on October 15th. So there's a deadline coming up. This version of the festival's stream is one where you can apply if you primarily put on a festival, or you can apply if the organization does a bunch of other things but also puts on a festival. So it's a little bit more applicable to a wider number of applicants. Um, Currently, you can apply for up to $9,000 towards the festival. And so, being from Sask Arts, our primary focus is around the arts festival. So this program is actually presented in partnership with Sask Culture with funding from Sask Lotteries. So we sort of handle the section of that money that's specifically focused towards arts festivals. So to get funding in the project stream, you don't have to be primarily an arts festival, but you have to be presenting professional artists at the event, and those artists must be paid for their work. So that's one of the sort of the big criteria for us, the big eligibility criteria, is that professional artists must be there and they must be getting paid for their work. if you are unsure kind of like what we mean by a professional artist, that's somebody who, has been doing what they've been doing for a significant amount of time. They have recognition within their community. They've received funding in the past. They, are recognized by other professional artists, things like that. Um, they've, have a history of presenting their work, whatever that is. Um, and that's artwork in any discipline, so it doesn't have to specifically be, it's not just music festivals. It can be visual art or literary arts or media arts, whatever the art form is. um, so the one big thing is, as I said, working with the professional artist. The other would be that they're operating in a not-for-profit basis. So again, sort of the operational streams, we require a bit more of a structure of an organization because we're providing funds towards your year-round operation. The project stream, you can be a not-for-profit organization, or you could be a group or collective, so there isn't a structure required in that way. The main priority there is that if you are registered, you're registered as a not-for-profit, but that if you're not registered as a not-for-profit, you're operating a not-for-profit basis. And then the third main thing there is that you're providing public access to the arts through a festival setting. So, we're not trying to use the program to fund things there where people can't access. It's all about getting people out and seeing professional artists and having the chance to experience them and the work that they do, because we believe that the work of artists has positive impact on our community. So within the SaskFestivals project stream, you do see a mix of organizations that they primarily exist to put on a festival, and then you see those that have a mix of other things. We're going to hear from Valerie, and they put on a wonderful festival out in Langham that has a lot of musicians and different types of art at it. And then we also fund, for example, we recently funded a tomato festival that primarily focused on food and tomatoes, but then they also had a section of the project was to present professional musicians at the event, or another example where would be something like the Regina Highland Games, where they have this Highland Games component, but then they also bring in they bring in professional artists to present at their festival event. Yeah, you got a question there.
Yeah. I know lots of events and different grants, you can't really make money at them while applying for the grant. How does that work with, like, can you charge admissions and
Hmm.
still receive funding?
Yeah, absolutely. So the funding goes towards your festival expenses, and we don't have an issue with a festival having a surplus at the end of it, because obviously we want festival events to continue and have the ability to grow. So the money goes towards the event, and the expectation is not that you don't make any money off the event. What the issue would be is, if we're giving you $9,000 and you're making $9,000, you probably aren't, likely don't need the money. So that's one of the things that the panel will look at. They'll look at your projections and sort of see is this a worthwhile investment, in that we're giving you money that is going to directly mean more people are interacting with the artwork. And if you're clearing $20,000, giving you another 9,000 is probably not meaning more people are getting to see artwork than would have if we didn't give you that. The That's why it's important that you're operating a not-for-profit basis, so you're not making money that is then going to be paid out to your shareholders. That's a way that you can't use the money. The other one, and this is often an issue for people, is that we can't fund fundraisers through this, because if we're giving you money to put on a fundraiser, then essentially we're just increasing the funds that are being gathered at the end of it, and then we would be directly essentially funding whatever cause the event is happening. So fundraisers are not eligible, and festivals that are primarily competition based, there's some eligibility issues there. If you have a festival that has competition in relation to the artwork, again, we're talking just about the art here, um, then we would need to have a conversation about that, because we don't fund, you know, money towards prizes for an artwork. But when it talks about, like, when you're looking at what costs would be eligible, so if your event is primarily to present an arts festival, essentially most costs are eligible. If you are presenting a festival that, you know, we do this, but we also present professional artists, then the money would need to be used towards the professional artist piece of it. So that could mean things like, it could mean the artist fees, it could mean the production, it could mean marketing, it could also mean staff time towards putting on that event, because we recognize that that takes work, and without that administrative support, a lot of events don't happen. So the expectation isn't that you aren't using our funding to pay for the work that's being done to put on the event. So does that kind of answer your question in the ways that the money can be used? Um, so when we're looking at these grants, we're primarily looking at three criteria. So maybe I'll back up. The way that these grants are assessed is we have that deadline in October. And the way it is set up right now, again, all of this is, you know, a little bit in flux because we're going to be changing the program, but this October deadline is going to run in this way. The activities you apply for have to take place after the deadline. And what happens is you put in your application, I read it through to make sure that there's no eligibility issues. If there's things that require to be fixed to sort of indicate whether you're eligible, well, I'll go back and forth with you on that. But then all of our grants are determined through peer assessment. So we bring in a panel of people who work in the festival, you know, with other festivals. Um, and they read through your application and they score it against a criteria, and then they ultimately make the decision of how that funding is given out. So our criteria currently are artistic impact. So looking at the, you know, the quality of the art being presented, but also how the event is impacting our artists provincially, because that's really important to us, that our artists that live and work in Saskatchewan have a place to perform and be paid for their work. So you can use it for out of province artists, you can use it for in province artists, but part of what we're looking at is, you know, is this providing opportunity for Saskatchewan artists to grow and get their work out there? Then the other would be to look at the impact that it has on your community. So what are the positive results of having this in your community? And then the third criteria is around planning. So, you know, looking at, is this likely to happen as is? Obviously, it's a proposal. And we understand with that October deadline, that kind of hangs up for some people, is they have this deadline in October. And they're like, well, we don't know all of the artists that we're going to have at our festival in the summer. That's okay. Still apply. Um, but look ahead and be like, you know, these are the types of artists we've booked in the past, and this is what we are hoping, you know, these are some examples of who we are hoping to book in the future. We understand with one deadline a year, everyone's sort of coming at the planning in different stages. Obviously, if you have a festival in November, you should probably know who's going to be there. But if you have a festival in the summer, obviously that might be different based on where you're at. So still apply. The way that things work at Sask Arts is that every program has a consultant that is available to answer questions. So I think somebody threw my contact information in the chat. If you have any questions about this program and whether it's a fit for your event, and contact me first. And I'm happy to discuss it. And if there's any eligibility issues, I can try and flag that before you start writing the application, because there's nothing worse than writing an application, finding out that you're not eligible for it. So if you have any uncertainty, please reach out and we can discuss. And if you can get me enough time, I can also read an application through prior to and offer feedback on eligibility, but also, you know, how it's addressing the criteria, or whether there's things that I might feel are unclear about it, to just, you know, help you with that writing process. That's absolutely something we can do. So don't hesitate to reach out. It's quite literally our job to be available to talk about it. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out. I think that's kind of enough of an overview to sort of give people an idea of whether this might be a fit for them or not. Happy to answer questions. I think at the end, is that how we're doing it? Or I can answer questions now if anyone's got.
Yeah, if anybody has any kind of question that they want to throw out there right now, feel free, or yeah, we can put it in the chat, or you can save it and we can kind of open it up after. I never wait that awkward silence because I think it's weird. So we will move on to Denise.
All right, thank you so much. For those of you who haven't met me before, there's a lot of new faces on this call. I'm Denise Hoda, and I'm the Executive Director of Workforce Development with Tourism Saskatchewan. I do have a few slides that I'm going to share, but before I do that, just a really quick poll for my knowledge is that how many of you are familiar with the types of trainings and programs that we have available with Tourism Saskatchewan? Okay. Okay. Some are iffy. Okay. I appreciate the honesty. Well, I'm hoping to be able to give you a better sense of what's available to you and your teams and maybe volunteers even within your communities as well. So let me just share my slides here really quick. Okay. Okay, I'm assuming everyone can see that, right? Yeah, excellent. Okay. So I really appreciate the opportunity to come and chat with you all today. I am focusing mainly on our organizing special events course. So that's what I'm going to be talking about, but then I will share some of the other things that might be available to you as well. As most of you know, special events do not succeed by enthusiasm alone. They need planning, resources, coordination, and confidence. So our organizing special events course gives learners a clear place to start and a structured path. The course, in my view, is approachable, it's low barrier, and it's really relevant for any kind of community events or gatherings. And so just listening to you talking about some of those potential events really shows me how relevant it could be to you as well. Sorry, I'm just gonna, my little slide thingy is stuck here. All right. This course itself, it is short, it is online, and it is affordable for people. So I'll take you through that. So it really doesn't take you a lot of commitment. The training itself, it's a couple hours per module that you would take. There is within it a built-in toolkit, and I think this is one of the big value or the major selling point that I see for this course, because when you get the toolkit from the course, you can reuse that for any festivals, any events that you're planning in the future. It really is a great starting point to kind of think through all of those elements. As mentioned, it can be completed in a few hours. And the cost itself is, I think, quite affordable. It's $30, and that includes the 7 modules and the toolkit as well for it. So when an event goes well, attendees see an organized, welcoming experience. But when there are gaps, attendees feel the impact quickly. This course helps learners think through the purpose, the audience, the timing, the location, resources, and budget. Also, that risk element that sometimes we forget to think about until it's too late. The course helps learners pause and ask those right questions right at the start. So, who is this event for? What are we trying to achieve with this event? What are the resources? And what could go wrong? And eventually, wanting to know, what does success look like? If we're going to continue doing this year after year, what does that look like for us? As mentioned, there are 7 modules, and really it's the value of the course and the sequence of these. So it takes learners right from that big picture idea through to practical details that often can make or break an event. The course will cover the event life cycle from concept to delivery. So attention will be focused on things like promotion, funding, logistics, people, finances, and risk. And again, it's really not just telling people what a good event planning looks like. It gives them the key pieces, right? So when we talk about having that big picture idea. This is where we talk about having a business plan. It also highlights things like what are those, really important milestones and timelines that have to be met in order to ensure that our festival, our event that we're planning is going to go off in the timelines that we expect it to. And there are those professional templates within it that I've talked about. So there's more than 30 different forms and templates that are available to you to use. You can download them to your computer. You can have them for future resources as you go. And sometimes as a new planner, and I know a lot of you are within the communities, and as mentioned, sometimes these can be off the side of your desk, or you might be working with volunteer boards and things like that. It can feel overwhelming, and this kind of gives you that little bit of guidance to help support you in that process as well. It does take kind of an experienced event planning perspective, but puts it into a really clear, simple introductory course for you. And so, you can quickly see that as you go through the course, all of the pieces and elements will align to sort of bring you to what it is that you're measuring for success at the end of them. And a lot of times there is, elements of reporting that your community wants back or your funding agency wants back. So it gives you an opportunity to do that. It is especially useful for people who are responsible for events, but may not identify, like I said, as event planners. If any of you are familiar with kind of the national certifications, this is a great start to move into that. So if you know and you feel that, hey, event planning is my thing, there is a next step to this where you can get nationally certified as an event management professional as well. I know so many of you do that work already, and so it's a really quick way to get a credit behind you as well. It does help build capacity at the community level, and it gives people a roadmap so that they're not starting from scratch, as I've kind of already highlighted for you. So if you are interested in this course, or you know someone who is planning an event, and especially if it is, like I said, someone who's trying to do this off the side of their desk, this is a short, it's affordable, and it includes all the tools to help get you started right away. So at the end of this, we can talk a little bit about sort of some next steps in planning on how you can access the course. As mentioned, low cost, but I know that this group has also come up with a plan to help support some of their individuals with some further training if they would like. So before I let you go, I do want to also take the opportunity, because we do have the organizing special events course, but we have many more courses that may be relevant to the work that you all do. If you're not familiar, one of our biggest selling courses is our Service Best customer service course that we have. This is a fantastic course for anyone working in frontline roles. Many of you are, doing a wonderful job in your communities to promote it, to really increase the life and the quality of life in those communities. And there are people working in many jobs related to you that would benefit from kind of having that frontline service piece added to their resume as well. We've just recently launched some leadership training. This is customizable courses that can be tailored specifically to the group and based on their interest levels. So again, I would just highlight that great opportunity to take a look at those. I know that a lot of organizations like yourself are looking at leadership training for those core people throughout the community. So that's something that you can consider as well. We've got a hospitality excellence bundle. This is where we have kind of 4 essential courses for the hospitality industry specifically, but if you take them as a bundle, there is a reduced cost. That includes Service Best, our Pro Clean course, Serve It Right Saskatchewan. So if any of you work in the bars or in the restaurants where they're serving alcohol, you know that that's mandatory training as well. And then we did introduce last year a new course on frontline sales. And the whole idea behind frontline sales, just so that you are all aware, is that we want people to come to our communities, but we want them to stay longer and spend more money as well. That's one of our goals within tourism itself, is get people visiting, but staying and really exploring. And frontline sales is about teaching our frontline employees how to showcase your community. What is there to do? What is there, to see? Where can I stay? All of those things. So the more they know about what's available in the community, the better they are as an ambassador for you. I will highlight our Saskatchewan Ambassador course. This is a completely free online course. It probably takes about an hour. if you are running any kind of events in your community and want to just ensure that the volunteers that you've recruited feel confident in their roles and that they're going to showcase your community well, I would highly encourage you to just send them that direction. Say, hey, any of our volunteers that are participating in this event, this is a mandatory course for you to take, 1 hour online. And I believe you will see benefits from that, from the event itself and what comes about it from the visitors that attend. For some of you, if you're connected to any kind of museums or, cultural sites, we have a brand new tourism guide course as well. It's a low cost course, really sharing, what it is to be a guide and what the skills that they might want to work on, to be able to tell great stories about a community, to be able to really highlight elements that you want highlighted, and to, of course, factor in things like safety and group, dynamics as well. And the last one I'm going to just tell you about is our resources for volunteer events. So when these were developed, they were developed intentionally for people like you who are planning these events throughout our province. So there are things like volunteer event checklists. So if you are, bringing in a bunch of volunteers and you want to train them, there is some checklists there of what to include in a training session for your volunteers. There is checklists for them to keep on hand during the event, like who are the main contacts? What are the main messages we want to know? Where should people go for help on this or that topic? And there's some great videos as well on what it means to be a Saskatchewan ambassador, that they're completely all available for free for you to use. So I do have our Business Hub website listed there, but that QR code that's on the screen will also take you there. And one thing I would just want to leave you with too is that each month Tourism Saskatchewan puts out a training newsletter. And within that newsletter, we often offer things like promotional discounts, things like that. So if you go to that QR code and you go under careers and training, under programs, you're going to see a sign up for our newsletter as well there. And it's a great way for you to kind of see what resources we have available that we showcase on a monthly basis, and make sure that you're also getting access to those promotional discounts when they come up for the courses each month. I will stop there, and maybe I will throw it back to say there is some work underway to get some codes available for you to use with this organizing special events course. So maybe Eileen, if you want to share how that might work in terms of next steps for everyone, and then I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has.
For sure. So in partnership with Tourism Sask, and I guess through Sask Lotteries, communities in the Prairie Central District we've purchased a number of codes. There's a limited number, so if you want to get your people in, we will share that soon. But Prairie Central folks will get these codes for free for a limited time. So go scratch and win those lottery tickets. Buy a lottery ticket and thank us. But yeah, and so through that, we're really hoping that communities hosting events are better prepared and build that capacity and kind of give everybody those skills that are necessary in gathering folks and training your volunteers. And also, it seems like I'm glitching, sorry. Also a shout out to Sask Culture, because I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago that I took this course through their Culture Days programming. So I want to give credit where credit is due, and I learned about it through them. And yeah, since then we've had a kind of a great partnership with Tourism Saskatchewan. We're working on a couple other different projects behind the scenes and hoping to bring out some community mapping and really kind of engage communities and strengthen what you've already got. So again, I will share those codes after the fact. Sorry, people in Kent River, you can chat with your crew. Maybe we'll sneak you in. I got a soft spot for Kent River. So
I was going to just say that if you want to share my contact information, please feel free as well. And if anyone does have questions, even after the session, please reach out. Again, a lot of the work that we do coincides with the work that you're all doing as well. So love to be able to help when we can.
Perfect. Any questions specifically for Denise here? I know that was a lot, and really it's like, I don't know if I'm a sports person, so if you've taken any of those like respect in sport or coaching things online, it's that kind of like click and go, except it's not just like a click, 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 because you just want to like pass the course and be finished with it. You really want to like go back into the resources, save the resource, bring it back in, and like, yeah, it's a really great kind of a great system they've got set up there and on demand. So you don't need to do it all in one sitting. You can, but you can kind of take it at your own time and speed. So we've got Valerie on the call here next. Looks like she's on a road trip somewhere fun, which is also incredible. Hopefully she's pulled over and not just head down, but we'll open the mic up for Valerie, who hosts an amazing garden festival in Langham. If you wanna...
Okay, there we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it's not a great road trip. I'm actually going to my internment for my mother. We're burying her ashes. Anyway. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly how much sort of history you want, or like, do you want to, I can do like a brief history of how our festival started, and do you want to hear that part?
Sure. Yeah. I think
Yeah,
folks love to
okay.
hear successful
Okay.
events and
Okay. And also Casey Mintzler is on the line, and Casey is both my daughter-in-law and she's also my event planner, my business manager. So she might want to pipe in too, because she has some good insights. I think she's got a lot of good ideas. So in 2020, during the pandemic, there obviously were very few places for artists to show their work, do any of that kind of thing. I am a visual artist, but I am a singer-songwriter as well, and I've got lots of arts background. So what I did was I arranged a small show for myself and some friends out in our garden so we could do the social distancing thing. And my younger son, who is a hip hop artist, him and his friends provided some live music for the event. And then my older son, who's more of a business minded kind of guy, he said to me the next year, he goes, "Why don't we do this again and like do a little festival?" And I'm like, okay, so we did. We built a little stage. Our first stage was built out of um, plywood, pallets, a tarp, and scaffolding. That was our first stage, and we did that for I think 2 or 3 years. Casey might correct me on that, but so yeah, we had this little rinky-dinky stage, and but we had some great bands and people, local musicians, come out and perform on our stage. Earl Pereira from the Steady, he performed on our stage several times. He's a really good friend of ours. And yeah, so we just did that for a couple of years. And then my younger son is also a carpenter. So he said, let's build a big stage. So in the backyard of our house, we have a house that's about 107 years old. It's a kind of a character home. And so we built a stage in our backyard, and and then we've just been doing that ever since. Last year we actually became an official nonprofit, so that, well, we weren't running a profit anyway, but now we're officially registered as a nonprofit. So then we've been able to apply for the festival grants from Sask Arts, and a big shout out to them and to Sask Lotteries, and as well as Tourism Saskatchewan for all of their support. It just means so much that we're able to do that. So the nonprofit is called WeWorks Creative Productions, Inc. And we do all kinds of things, but the main thing that we do is the Art in the Garden Festival, held on our farm every year in June. And the sort of motto that I have for my business, for this nonprofit, is to create beauty, to create opportunity, and create community. Those are the three things. So I'm really all about, how can I promote art, not just my own art, but other people's? How can I provide a platform and an opportunity for other people to be able to express themselves? And how can we bring people together to just really celebrate the arts and just build a more vibrant arts community? So I'm pretty passionate about that. I'm really excited that some of the groups that we've had on our stage, that we're just basically getting going. have actually now, like, there were winning awards at the Country Music Awards,
Dear knows.
so that, like, that is just like, and I I can just go, yeah, that was a little piece we were part of that, a part of that artist's story. And that's so great. Or, we've had some very young performers on our stage, like 12-year-olds. This last year, we had an 11-year-old sing. She's the youngest, excuse me, performer we've ever had. And she sang 2 songs. She did a marvelous job. And we do a wide range of music, of different kinds of genres of music: country, folk, bluegrass, rock, pop, hip hop. Yeah, maybe Casey can say some more things. But yeah, it's just been a really great experience. Um, we use the money that Sask Arts has given us, and again, thank you so much to them for this, because it really helps us with our budget line, which is something my husband really appreciates. Because we put a lot of our own personal money into this, but that's just how passionate I am about it. I think it's worth it. But we use it to pay our performers. And then besides the stage, we also run an artisan village. I'm pretty picky about who I allow in. I'm really wanting to promote handmade objects. There's lots of other markets for people who are doing things in a different manner, not doing it handmade. So we do that. We also run every year. We have what we call a live art event. So we hire a local artist to create some kind of piece of art. It can be interactive. The last couple of years, it has been interactive. This year, we had a theme of home for our festival, and Shannon and a friend of hers, sorry, his name is escaping me, from Nefelabata in Saskatoon, they built a little house frame, and then they had little shingles, and all of our patrons were able to paint these shingles, and they were able to create this home together. So it's just another symbol of building community that I think is really powerful. We also have a kids garden where we hire an artist to come and do art type activities with kids. And we also hire a different artist every year to do our branding. This year we had Cindy Hoppy, who did it, and we've had a number of different artists. So we're always looking for artists. So, and then one thing that we do that I'm not sure a lot of other festivals do is we have what we call a community supper on the Friday before the festival, and everybody who's involved, all the staff, all the volunteers, all the artisans and musicians, anybody who wants to come, we feed them. And it's just a really great community building event that a lot of people look forward to. I've had numbers of people say, yeah, we just love that. Yeah, because our volunteers, our artisans, all those people, that's what this is about. I don't know, Casey, do you want to say anything more? Want to add to
Sure.
any of that?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Casey. I am the event manager. I'm the managing partner of a company called We Manage. So we do a lot of creative events. And so working with WeWork, Art in the Garden kind of got us our start. So Sask Arts, yeah, like Valerie's point, just under half of our budget goes to paying our artists, the performers and stuff. So from a small family-run festival, big, like getting that $5,000, $10,000, $8,000, I think is what we got last year from Sask Arts. That really goes and helps us go a long way, as well as sponsorship from other companies like Sask Lotteries and things like that. So yeah, they're pretty critical for nonprofits to be able to make these things happen and be able to do the stuff for the community that we are doing. With Art in the Garden, you also forgot our beer garden, so we got gardens galore in the garden. Yeah, being able to kind of work on our the stuff that we've got at the festival grounds. So like she said, having those art installations that are going to be there and kind of become a fixture, as well as developing like a bunkhouse, bathrooms and showers that are there, any kind of infrastructure that's kind of become permanent to the festival grounds, being able to slowly build that year over year. And now being into year 7 of the festival, going from that tiny stage, which is now definitely OH&S approved. It's not like some rinky dinky thing. It's cemented into the ground. So don't tell anybody. We're fine. Yeah, it's really great to see it kind of grow and evolve in like in size and scope that it has been from the start. I think we had our highest year for attendance this year that we've had so far. So it's really great to see it kind of grow. And that's due with large and support from the community and sponsors and grants and things like that. So thank you to Sask Arts especially. I'm trying to think of anything else that could be kind of relevant for you guys. Is there any kind of points that you'd like to discuss about the festival? Because I'm happy to kind of get into any of the nitty gritty or any information anyone's got or questions about the festival. Eileen, is there anything that you'd like us to discuss? Like we can chat about art in the garden all day, so I don't want to waste your guys' time if we get into the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that is a wonderful overview. I guess one question, and this does come to us a little bit, is where do you find your artists? Like, is there I know there's a directory of arts, if anybody wants to chime in on that, or, yeah.
We open up the artisan applications in January. So we'll do it through her website. So Weeb.works, and then also through Art in the Garden. So we send out a community newsletter as well. We're lucky to have a really large Rolodex of artisans that are familiar with us and what we do. So they're all subscribed to our newsletter. So having that kind of base that we've slowly developed over the last 7 years has been helpful. I also do community events across quite a few different places in the city in Saskatoon. So getting that kind of recognition and showing Valerie's work at different places and kind of making those connections through that is really helpful. I know Valerie attends like lots of markets and things like that, like Craft Is and Kith and Kin and YXE artisans and stuff like that. So making those connections and talking to people and really pounding the pavement and building those relationships really kind of gets artisans to come to us. We usually have between 15 to 18 at the festival, and then for the events that we do throughout the year, because Art in the Garden is our marquee event, but it's not our only event. We do like a Christmas market and whatnot, so we do get some repeat ones, but we definitely are kind of expanding that. And honestly, with the artisans, because it's such a simple add to the festival, I think this last year we had one like literally the day of. They were like, "Hey, can we come to the festival?" And like the year before, there was another festival that got like a tornado warning or rained out or something, so they all were like, "Well, can we come join you?" And we're like, "Yep, just fire off your artisan fee and come on down." We really try to keep our barrier to entry really low. Like our vendor fee is $40. So that's for the full day for the festival. And so we really want to make sure that we're not making it too high for artisans to be able to come and join us and sell their wares and get that kind of brand recognition through us. And so I think that's having it low, but also like just building those relationships is really how we get that. Valerie, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah. So like I was like in terms of our musician lineup, like we do, like Casey said, we open up our applications. We advertise like Tourism Saskatchewan. We have a thing there, social media, just previous people who know us. Yeah. So we've actually been attracting groups, not just like really local, like in Saskatoon and surrounding area, but we've been having people come from Regina, and our headliner actually this year was from Edmonton. So we're getting people coming from farther afield. I have to plug this one group. I really advocated for them. They were the Latino mariachi band, Latin mariachi band from Regina. And oh man, they just made the whole vibe of the whole festival. Their lead person, sorry, I forget her name, but she is such an advocate for community and for the arts, and she just brought that energy to our stage. And it was marvelous. We had the whole audience up and dancing and doing a conga line, and
they brought the house down.
it was just lovely.
Yeah, this is the
Lovely.
first year that we got festival applications from across Canada, and we even had some from the States. It was like this is the first year finally, after kind of pushing and pushing and pushing and paying a lot for advertising and getting those nice assets that we can use year over year. Thank you for using our nice photo for your event is for here as well. But we actually got them from all the way from Montreal and Toronto and things like that to all the way to Vancouver and stuff. So we were getting applications from across the country for the first time. So I guess it takes 7 years to finally kind of get to that area where you're getting applications from all over, but it's that brand recognition that really kind of carries it through, especially for musicians traveling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I don't want to cut you guys short, but in
No, it's all good.
when we did the registrations, there were a few people who were hosting events or considering hosting events. Does anybody want to do you have any wider questions from the group, or do you want to kind of bounce ideas off? I know, Adriana, that Harvest Hoedown in Grand Coulee is like the event of Grand Coulee, and yeah, and Ghislaine, I think there's a big event, that you guys are hosting as well coming up. So yeah, if you guys want to share anything about your events, or if you have questions or ideas or anything, you don't have to. I don't need to put you on the spot either, but
I guess I'll chime in just quickly, just because it's a new event that we're bringing to the province, and it's the the National Francophone Youth Games. They're coming to Regina in 2028. It's the first time Saskatchewan's going to host these games. And within the games, there's more than just the competition side. We have I've just made a note for maybe next year I'll apply for the festival grant, but we have the Games Village where we'll set up a stage, and we will have local artists come, and they'll just be there for all the participants. Youth is 14 to 18 that we're going to host from all over Canada, and all in French. So all my volunteers will be primarily bilingual, if not French speaking of some sort. And it's going to take the whole province to put this event on. I'm based out of Allen right now, and we'll be heading to Regina in a couple years just to have a home base closer to the event. So I just wanted to put that out there, that we are getting things running, looking for grants, funding, anything that can get us off the ground. I just had a meeting with our national partners this morning to get our MOU signed. And I was the one who answered. I wasn't sure about the workforce development. And when Denise finished, I was like, oh, I think I've been through all of the programming, and it was just called something else in my head. So I started with S-Tech. I've got my national certification. I've done Service Best twice, and I've done Serve It Right twice. And I have things lined up in my email too, to be like, I should go check this out, or I should read on this. And I really like the Saskatchewan Ambassador Program that I don't think I've completed, but I will want my volunteers, because we're going to be looking for over 600 is what they tell me. So once we get that schedule figured out, then I'll have a better idea on numbers. But yeah, here just to gather information, meet new people. I was at Prairie Land Park in Saskatoon for almost 11 years, Métis Nation Saskatchewan just over a year. So and the French Youth Association before that. So I've had my hand a little bit everywhere in the province so far, and looking forward to making new contacts on the artistic and festival side.
Keelan, if you ever need any help, I was the only professional women's tennis tournament in Western Canada. It's part of the ITF World Tour. So when it comes to sporting events and stuff, we just had a really, really successful event that happened in July. So I'm happy to connect as well if you need any suggestions or guidance and stuff like that for festivals and sporting events like that. That's my jam. We do it every year. So yeah, if you have questions about that, yeah, I'm happy to connect. I also work with the Riversdale district here in Saskatoon and downtown. We're doing a Fork and Around Riversdale event too. So if anyone knows anybody, food vendors and things like that, we're looking for people too. But yeah, I'm happy to connect if you want to have a quick chat. I can put my email in the chat.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
awesome. So following, let me see what else. I had a little slideshow made up, but sometimes I steer from it. Oops. we'll skip that. So I'll send out a follow-up email, and it will have everyone's contact information, has a little wee slide on everyone's, and then also has information, as Denise and I were sharing, about those free passes for people if you do want to take it. And again, this could be for your museum staff, your library staff, your community rec director, your rec board, kind of anybody who you think in your community. You can do it as a group together, or you can individually kind of each take one of those passes as well. I'll send out like a little form just so we can kind of track where people are coming. And then we're also working on a little prize package. If you send us back your certificate, then we know that you've completed it and we didn't just throw our money into the wind. And we'll send out a special little package or a care package to you and your community. So again, I don't know if we even put an end time on our little conversation here, but we are at that full hour mark. I am free and available to visit. I've got a little bit left in my coffee cup, and I know we've got Thomason and Tara on the call as well. If anybody's looking for more directed arts funding, or if you have any questions on kind of any of the programming that they have coming up, they are, as Jeff said, literally our job to be here for you in whatever capacity it is. So happy to stay on the call and also happy to make any other connections. But if you want to leave, I will turn off the recording. And again, thank you everybody for joining us, and thanks to Sask Lotteries for your support, as well as Sask Tourism, or Tourism Saskatchewan, and Sask Arts. So I'll remember how to turn that off and go from there.
I have to go. Thank you, Eileen.